truth uncensored. My whole network viral. 12 and a half get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals. I like my truth uncensored. My whole network viral.
Days ago. Salute to Katt Williams, man, one of the greatest comedians of all time. We've talked about him a lot on this podcast over the year. Talked about a lot how I don't really think he likes viral hip hop news and the platforms a lot. I could be 100% wrong on that, but based off of little things, man, it just made me kind of get a little bit like, damn. But that being said, we got nothing but love for Katt Williams over here, one of the greatest comedians of all time. He dealt with a little bit of a situation this past year, or a little bit of 2018 as well. Was in court a couple times. Got arrested maybe once, I believe. Yeah. Just some shit. Well, he talked about that a little bit. And a couple of things may surprise you. So I'm going to play a clip of that and get your thoughts on it, Ogod. Yes, sir.
You didn't miss a court date. That you didn't know that you were missing a court date. I should say that up front. But is that what happened?
Without giving away too much, in my search for who was this enemy that was causing all these things to repeatedly happen to me over and over again when it shouldn't, we uncovered that it was actually my people that was involved. So we didn't really know that until the Department of Justice started indicting these people for the embezzlement of $59 million from Katt Williams. So once that happened, everybody got fired, but in everybody getting fired, now their way of retaliation was to make sure that he doesn't get any of his information, that he, it's basically low class extortion.
But did you just say that you had $59 million embezzled from you by people in your own camp?
This is the only reason the Department of Justice and the IRS were all involved, is they thought that I have found some way to sequester the funds until they actually dug in and realized, why would I be money laundering my money?
Right, it's yours, right? You don't need to.
Right, so it's been a lot, and a lot of it you can't really talk about, and it's ongoing.
All right, just to stop it right there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, man?
I think that's crazy. I mean, it's not surprising because it seems like, especially with us, it seems like I think Kevin Garnett, as well as a number of other people, have had situations where they entrusted other people with their wealth, and for whatever reason, they, misappropriated the funds, spent them, didn't pay the taxes on it. And, it just goes to show, man, the circle that you keep, the people all the way down, your lawyer, your publicist, your accountant, your assistant, everybody you have on the staff, man. It's almost like a football team. You want to be the Patriots, not the Browns or the Bengals. No disrespect to any of those teams out there.
Browns about to win, man. What you talking about?
Yeah, okay. But anyway, you want to just have that level, of security and trust, with them, that even in your death, that everybody still does things accordingly, because that's a lot of money, $50-something million. He said, the authorities, IRS got involved. And if all that's 100% true, that's wild. That man, all my thing and our thing here in this podcast is lessons. And you don't got to be making millions of dollars, even on a like scale. When you got a business and everything, you got to be careful with stuff like this. So crazy,
what a violating situation, man. Like $59 million, and you got the IRS and the government on your ass. That's a situation like, whoa, only to find out that it's right up under your nose, man. That's the sickening part of making money in the fame. You know what I mean? You don't really know who to properly trust and who to properly know to intake all the wealth that you are putting upon yourself. I mean, obviously it's cool to have your inner circle, but when you talk about you need lawyers, we talk about you may need this publicist, we talk about you may need this manager, and little people like that you're going to need in your circle, especially somebody like a Katt Williams who's out here touring, who's out here getting bookings, who's out here scheduling shows. He's going to need a team around him, always consistently signing contracts, I'm sure, need a lawyer and all that. And if these people aren't solidified, people that you're not 9 times out of 10 aren't going to grow up with, and they're doing dirty shit under your nose, man, it makes your trust just go to another level of just not fucking with anybody.
You almost got to have people, not to cut you off.
No, you're good, brother.
lawyers that watch the lawyers, accountants that watch the accountants.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Somebody to get a second look. You know what I'm saying? Okay, man, all right, this is good. Can you just check this over to make sure that everything is on? Because it's just, you know, it's the time that we in right now. And us and Katt. And I'm not trying to take any shots at anybody, but a lot of times the reason why we get other people to do it because we don't quite know exactly. So that could open up an opportunity because they know for them to rip you off because they know you don't know. And you know, or they charge you for something outlandish or something you don't even really need. They made something. Now, it's just a lot of things. So that trust factor, you know, and I think that's built up through experiences, obviously, and you know, seeing that, you know, when things happen, that they're you know, they show improve each and every time. So hopefully, you know, that's something that he can get worked out, you know, very, very soon. Katt's been through a lot, man.
I concur, brother. I concur. Well, one thing that we can't say about Katt is that he's not a funny motherfucker because he's one of the funniest people on this planet. We talked about comedians a couple of days ago on the podcast, Hollywood. I forgot what it was, but they put out their list of top comedians of the week or the month or whatever. Katt wasn't on that list, but so was a number of other great comedians. So we ain't even gonna get into that. One thing that he was continuing to talk about, though, in that excerpt was Katt Williams. Oh, God, he has a new comedy special coming up, man. It's on Netflix. He signed a nice little deal. And he's saying it's going to be the best he's ever done, better than Pimp Chronicles. Katt Williams is a funny ass dude. So, are you excited about that, man?
Yeah, definitely.
Katt Williams special.
Definitely. I'm 120% invested in seeing Katt Williams come back. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, he had his issues. He had to kind of fall back. I want to see him take the throne, you know, his rightful throne as being one of the kings of comedy. Not to say that he isn't, but going through all this stuff and, you know, lawsuits, lawyers and stuff, that's whack. Let's get in here. Let's get focused. Let's make this money. I definitely can't wait to check it out. You know, because for me, man, it's like, even though there's a lot of great comedians and you got to, you know, kind of sift through to find, I'm tired of the guys in mainstream now. I'm ready for, you know, to see guys like Katt Williams be thrusted back up, you know what I mean, into the mainstream and let him be the dude that say, okay, he represents us with the comedy, not these other cats, man.
And, I mean, and that's no shade to anybody on top. That's no shade to Kevin Hart. And this is what I want to say. I had to say it because he's number one, and it is what it is. And I want to, and a lot of people, they often compare Katt Williams to Kevin Hart. I don't like that. Let's stop competing. Let everyone be great. I mean, I'm sure they had their little back and forth. They have had their back and forth. We've reported it. And I hope all of that stops. I think Katt Williams is going to deliver far better product than Kevin Hart did on his Netflix special, which we talked about. And that's no shade to Kevin Hart because
it kind of is, though.
It's you know what? It's constructive criticism from a true fan of Kevin Hart. I support all of his movies, whether that I think they corny, whether I think they dope. I support him since he was Kev the Bastard. All of his journey through this, I had him when he was in Brigada and he was in the Music Box at the time, which is about 800 people. He wasn't even in the 3,000 person event yet. He wasn't even that big. Right. He's a down to earth, genuine dude. So I love to see where he's at right now. But I gotta keep it real. His comedy's gotten a little whitewashed when it comes to the mainstream and those live events. And that last comedy show on Netflix was almost painful to watch.
The whole whitewashing thing, though. Let's break that down a little bit. What does that mean, Sam, man? Somebody say, what do you mean?
He's being safe for the white folk. Woo! He's being safe so that he doesn't get money taken away. No stretch of the imagination. Am I saying that Kevin Hart is dancing or anything or playing around, because I think he's genuine in who he is. But he's definitely watching what he says to please the motherfucking people putting money in his pocket.
You blame him, though, Sam, man? Because a lot of us, let's have this conversation, because a lot of us sit back and we say this and that, and we say, oh, you know, but if you had endorsements with New Era or Nike or Polo, and you wasn't going there and offend their demographic of people either, you would tiptoe through the tulips because these people are paying you to promote a product. So do we need to, as media, and, you know, kind of step down off our high horse and say, look, you know, who are you? Because don't judge somebody if you're not in that situation. You would do the same thing. You're moving up. I'm not going to say anything that's going to lose my sponsors. I'm trying to build welfare. What do you say to the people who say that?
To you and the people, I'm not judging them. I'm not judging Kevin Hart on the decisions that he makes. I got to call it like I see it. People are tweeting out that this was the greatest Kevin Hart special of all time. Kevin Hart did it himself in promotion of it. I want to say the same thing. I can't as a fan because I didn't buy into it. The reason why I didn't buy into it is because of what I feel. Now, what Kevin Hart has been through, I don't wish upon anybody. He goes out here, he's saying what he's supposed to say. He's getting ridiculed for it. He can't do this, he can't do that. That fame and that light I can commend anybody who can be in that light. But this is why a Katt Williams is so respected in the game. And even though he may have taken his hits and his lumps and, like you said, sitting back on his throne, because it was at one time Katt was the fucking man. And there were reasonings of why he's not the man now. Some were self-inflicted. He has to take a couple on the chin, some for other various reasons. But I don't think he will ever be on the top again in mainstream, just because he will never conform and whitewash what he has to say. What we're going to enjoy about Katt Williams and what we miss about Kevin Hart is him giving us that raw, unapologetic comedy, no matter who the fuck he offends or what sponsor takes their fucking money off the table.
Well, what do you think that people say that's not accurate, Sam? Man, that's not accurate, because how could you go to the heights that Kevin Hart went to? He had to pretty much keep his style the whole time. At what point did he whitewash
Kevin
now all of a sudden, or was he still saying all the same jokes his whole climb? At what point?
Whitewash, when I say whitewash, I mean he's watering down his jokes. His jokes are watered down.
Not to be as offensive to a certain...
Yeah, it's
right.
Flat soda. He's sitting here trying to, in certain jokes, he's trying to make jokes that aren't necessarily funny. The highlight of it will play little things about his family and his life, which is funny. But then it's those other topics that he just won't kind of dive into that we know he wants to say. When he was sitting there battling and talking shit to Meek Mill, or getting with Jamie Foxx, or he was talking shit on this person or that person, he was Chocolate Dropper. When he was just saying what he wanted to say back in 2011, and I know it's a different time, we enjoyed and responded to him differently. Because now, and I'm not mad at him, I understand. He's a millionaire. He's sitting on the top of his game for a reason. If he doesn't want his certain thing taken away, I'm not mad at him. But you can't deny it. He took away, he watered down some of his stuff. And I think that he kind of was fearful of what people were saying. And the
thing is, it always backfires to do that, because then in the end, not to build no gloom doom stuff, they end up sticking it to you anyway. No matter, you could be the Bill Cosby, you could be, the roughest, toughest thug nigga ever in the world. They sticking it to you either way. So you might as well just keep it raw, like Katt Williams or anybody else, Bernie Mac,
Mike Epps.
Mike Epps. You might as well